y'all. We are back with Who Knows Best, the podcast where we dive into the world of Cincy Consulting and share our stories, along with how we do, like all the secrets of how to do this amazing business. I'm Cassie Bollinger, and let's just, we have the amazing Jacqui Duran here with us.
Hello. Hello.
And we are going to tackle a topic. This hits very close to home for us. It's navigating challenges as a Cincy consultant, whether it's
Yes.
finding the balance between work and family life, dealing with rejection, or overcoming self-doubt. We've been there. So grab your favorite Cincy scent and settle in, because we're going to openly discuss our common challenges. We're going to share some practical advice and support and and support for overcoming these. We're going to share some personal stories, maybe some other tips, and then our advice for how to navigate the obstacles and come out stronger on the other side. So the biggest challenges that is any Cincy consultant is going to face is the word no.
Yes.
And it's a hard word. Like, I don't like ever being told no, and it has nothing to do with Cincy. Like, don't tell me no.
Exactly.
But I don't fall apart. I don't tantrum. I don't throw myself on the floor anytime my husband or my children or even the cats, when they ignore me and they're telling me no in their own way. It's not something to fall apart on, but it can be disheartening. I guess it's just like
Yes.
you kind of have that ups, that disappointment of like, oh. So, I mean,
Mhm.
Jacqui, you've been in now for 13,
Yeah,
13.
going on 13. Yeah, 13 years.
So
That's a
I
long
guess
time.
you've kind of heard some no's.
Oh gosh, I've heard thousands of no's. And if I were to take any of them personally, I wouldn't still be sitting here 13 years later. There's no way. No
Yeah,
way.
because we can't just put our head in the sand and be like, someone told me no, I'm done. Like,
Right.
we got to keep moving. So what do you do? Like, how do you get yourself through the no's? Like, if you're like, you know what, this is a great promotion, or maybe we have something that's like on sale, it's an amazing deal, and you know that these customers are going to love it, and they say no. I mean, do you have to tell yourself like they're lost, or do you just like,
I think it's probably a little bit of both, right? Because yeah, so even if it's a customer and they're saying no, it could be for multiple reasons, right? Like I don't necessarily know all the I don't get into it with my customers, like why are you telling me no, right? It may be that right now their budget just doesn't allow for some extra spending. Maybe they really want it, but they just can't, right? I'm not gonna make them give me that answer. So I have to kind of put myself in the customer's shoes. It may just be something that they're just not interested. I may think that they're interested in, or I may think like, oh my gosh, why doesn't everybody want this wax collection or whatever it is that we're offering? But it's every scent has a different variety of people who love it or hate it. Same thing with warmers. So I just have learned that customers are going to be attracted to what they're attracted to, and they're going to get it when they can, right? So just like when we talk about, which I know I personally see a lot of different trainings, right, about sponsoring and the join conversations and things like that, right? So the same thing as, a no right now isn't a no forever. So just because I've reached out and maybe talked about the summer wax collection and these customers have said no, it doesn't mean that's the last time I'm going to talk about that collection. Doesn't mean that I'm going to offer it the next time I talk to them, because things have changed. Maybe they've heard a little bit more. Maybe they've seen me talk about it. Maybe finances are better. So I think at the end of the day, if we don't really put, like you said, we really just don't take it personally. We just kind of take it, we move on, no problem, I got you, right? Like yeah, yeah.
well, and the story that I always tell like new teamies that come on is, I'm like, we're offering a service. We are
Hmm.
like, if you go to a restaurant and they ask you if you want dessert or dinner or the like after meal coffee,
Yeah.
and I tell them no, they don't fall apart. They don't throw themselves on the ground being like, why not? And that's how we have to look at it, is that we're making sure that we're educating our customers on what's coming out, because
Yes.
they may have been looking for something, but it's not. it's not devastation. It's
Mhm.
more or less is that, "Okay, not now," and sometimes if they've told me no multiple times, which I've had a customer just being like, "Not now," I will ask us like, "Do you want me to let you know the next time something comes up?" Because I wanna make sure I'm not bothering them, because I think that's the
Mm.
other part is that we don't wanna ask them too many times because we don't wanna be that, "Hey, girl, hey, salesy," of like, "I know you said no yesterday. Are you ready
Oh,
now?"
no, I hate it. Yes,
You know what I'm
no.
saying? Like, but it's one of those is that sometimes they'll just say, "Oh, I don't get paid until Friday."
Mhm.
And or they'll be like, "I'm really waiting for this because I know you said it was coming out, like, next month, and I really wanna save up my money." And
Yeah,
sometimes it is just finances. I mean, with everything being hard, it's not always easy for us, even as consultants. We go through money problems
yeah,
just like everybody else. It's
most
even when our
certainly.
business is going good, it doesn't mean that all bills are paid all the time.
Mhm.
I mean, things still
Yeah,
happen. And sometimes they're just waiting for that special thing, but they'll tell me like, "Yeah, no, I really am interested. I just not right now."
yeah.
And I've only had 2 people in my entire 4 years tell me basically to F off and quit messaging them. And I was like, "I'm so sorry. Didn't bother, I didn't mean to bother you." I was like, I wanted to just say have a great life, but I was just like,
Yeah.
you have a great day. And I left it alone and I made sure to put them in my contacts of do not contact. The
Mhm.
funniest part is that her daughter and her sister order from me all the time. So, but there's some people that are not going to be interested in Cincy.
That's true. Yeah.
And those aren't my
That's not for
people.
everybody. Yeah.
Like I find the people that buy the most from me are ones that either have been past consultants because they know the products and they know I'm going to message them. And I always just kind of leave it open of like, hey, you've bought this much, this month, you could have gotten paid on it. And sometimes they're like, I know, just not ready right now. Or they're like, really? I forgot, I get
Yeah.
that kind of thing, like just kind of response from them because,
Yeah.
I do try to let my customers know, I was like, you really could get, you just bought $200.
Yeah.
You know, that right there, I mean, that's a pretty good chunk of change on commission when you're just getting cash back. Like
Exactly.
the business aspect is not for everybody.
Yeah. No, it's not. And even, those of us, as consultants, right? Like I just bought plane tickets for Orlando, right? That means that that's money out of my pocket that, yeah, I would love to get some extra Scentsy this month, right? But I'm only going to be jumping on the deals that I absolutely cannot pass up, right? So I have to be very conscious and budget friendly in my personal business too, because again, money doesn't grow on trees. So I gotta make the same sacrifices that customers make. So it's really, and like you said, I like the part about educating them, right? So giving them all the options, even if it's, reminding them for the 10th time, it seems, about Cincy Club, right? Hey, I know that you love these scents and I know you don't want to lose them, but you can't necessarily get them now. Let's add them to a Scentsy Club that's going to run next month or the month after, right? And then that way we can get you those scents when, you're ready and your budget is there for it. So that
Well,
education piece is huge.
yes, because especially for news, like between seasoned consultants who have done a little bit of everything,
Hmm.
like I've done Facebook parties, I've done the bag parties, I've done other things. I always have to remind myself that Cincy Club is beneficial for so many because of the discount. Now, it
Yeah.
doesn't put warmers in there, and that's the only downfall is that, it's only for um uh the what's the word I'm thinking of? The stuff that gets used.
The reusable, the
Consumable. The
consumable. There it is.
consumable products, like your waxes
Consumable.
and the body wash and all the things that you use and then it's gone and then
Yeah.
so but that's when they tell me that the money's not there, I also like to remind them about like the links
Yeah.
because they may not realize that they don't have to have the link for a day and then they have to, buy $200 worth of stuff. I I keep mine open. There's a lot of them that are open over 6 months. I
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
as long as there's an order that goes on them or you do some adjusting on the backside,
Mm-hmm.
you're able to keep that party open for them and they can just accumulate rewards. And they normally do it for about 6 months, which is the catalog season.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then my peeps will get, when the new stuff releases, they're allowed to go through and pick all the stuff that's not licensed or
I know. I love that. I love it.
so so what kind of advice would you give a new consultant who is hearing the no's or trying to figure out like what to work on? Like, we all in the beginning, my problem was you don't know what you don't know.
Yes.
So it's not only just the no's, but it's also what do we like, how do you balance? Like, what do you work on? And how do you figure out what we call an IPA, which is income producing
Hmm.
activity? How do you figure out what works for you? So, like in the beginning, you didn't really start this as a business.
No, not at all.
So
Not at
how
all.
did you figure out like what do you need to do? Like,
Honestly, I jumped on YouTube because I didn't have the greatest relationship with my sponsor. And um, she wasn't really big on training. She was very big on like micromanaging. Like she would come and message me or text me and say, okay, you need to do X, Y, and Z today. And I'm like, what do you mean I need to do it? Like, what? I thought this was my thing. And so we didn't really communicate well. And so uh, I actually thought about quitting because of that, right? Like, so I kind of found myself in that conundrum. Like, do I just quit? I think it was a lead consultant at the time. I had a smaller team of, I think I had like anywhere between like 10 or 20 people on my team. So it wasn't huge. Um, but at the same time, I knew what the potential was going to be of what I could do with this. And so I didn't necessarily want to lose it. And I was like, well, there's got to be another way to work this business, something that, I'm not somebody who wants to be micromanaged. I'm not somebody who needs to be given a list every day. How can I figure out how to work this business that's going to work for me? And so, yeah, I jumped on YouTube and jumping on YouTube. I remember I found Christina Saint because back in my day, it was like 2012, 2013. And back then there weren't a whole lot of people on YouTube. Like, I mean, like now you can search Scentsy on YouTube and there's thousands of consultants, if not more, right?
well, even back
Um,
then, there wasn't a whole bunch of people on YouTube. Like
yeah, and
it
yeah, that
it
too.
really there was it's not like it is today the how-tos. Like
No,
back then
no.
YouTube was really set more for um like movies type thing. Like YouTube
Yeah.
was more like find your show or you get little
Mhm.
tidbits of someone in a movie theater recording something. Like YouTube was not the massive
Yeah.
tool it is now
Mhm.
for how-tos and videos of walking through how,
Yeah.
like I can't tell you how many times a day I Google something of like, I need to figure out how I fixed my dryer from YouTube. Like I fixed my
That
dryer
is no
from a
joke.
YouTube video and
Mhm.
but even from you finding those, that was like your main reason to create your own YouTube.
It was. It really was because it inspired me because I was able to connect with some of those leaders who were on and sharing, what they were doing and all of that. And I was like, okay, well, I took little pieces. I've always like learned by taking, okay, this person's doing this person's doing that. That would work for me. Oh, look at this little thing over here. This is going to work for me. And that's kind of how I puzzle pieced my business together. And I really wanted to be more consistent in my business. And so I was like, all right, I just made myself a little, goal or whatever you want to call it. And I was like, okay, every Monday, I'm just going to go live. And I didn't really even know how to do live. I didn't, I remember YouTube back then, like you had to have, which I still think maybe now, you have to have a certain number of followers. And I certainly didn't have that to be able to go live. But back then there was Google Meet. Sorry, he's gonna bark.
It's okay. Well, why he's barking? And the only reason that I know that Jacqui kind of started her business from there is because when I started 4 years ago, I had a similar situation with my upline. She couldn't keep up with the amount of info I needed. And I went to Google and I came across the Jacqui Duran. Like, I followed some of her videos and then I started going back. Because when I find someone, especially on a training, I kind of want to see where they started and where they go to. And I looked at some of her older videos and I was going through of the stuff, and she had a lot with her daughter in there, and
Mhm.
they were sitting on the bed and it was like in her bedroom, and her hair was different and her makeup was different. Like, when I met Jacqui, I almost didn't recognize her because I hadn't watched a lot of new videos. I was watching the ones from like 4, 5, 6 years ago. But it's, it's nice to be able to look back and see where you came from, like
Yeah.
how you
Yeah.
started and
Yeah.
the different things you come across, because in the beginning, our challenges in the beginning is first just getting our name out there. It's
Yes.
like, how do
Yes.
you tell everybody you're a Cincy consultant? I mean,
Mhm.
I shouted it from the rooftop. Like, I was always on lives every day with my VIP group. I was on Facebook. I rarely did Facebook Live on my regular
Mhm.
page because I was so scared. I didn't want to bother people with my Cincy stuff.
Yeah.
But I've gotten over that. Um, I didn't create a business page until a couple years ago. But
Mhm.
I did start doing YouTubes because Jacqui was like, "You just gotta start. You just gotta do it. You just gotta
Yeah.
keep doing it."
Yeah.
And my challenges that I come across is a little bit different from yours because I needed this as a business. Like,
Yeah.
I had to have an income now, and it was, how do I do that? And my I had been in other direct sales, and one of the biggest things was go for no. And so I used to do a challenge with my team, and the book Go for No's, and I can't even remember who did it. It's a great example of pushing through and persevering through the no's. And it is,
Yeah.
if you knew you went to a beach and there was all these rocks, and underneath of this rock, there's one rock out there that had $1 million. How many rocks would you turn over? You're
All of
not
them.
gonna turn over one and be like, I didn't find it." Now I'm not saying that there's $1 million, I mean, $1 million to be made or not to be made with Cincy. It's just a thing, but you would turn over every single rock looking for that one.
Right.
The one that you would, it's the treasure that you're just supposed to be able to turn over. And I made a game out of it. I used to try to see how many no's it would take before I get a yes. And every time I got a no, I would tell myself how excited I am because I'm a step closer. And I did not have that fear anymore in the beginning because this was a necessity. This was a
Mhm.
dire, we are not going to eat or have electricity or have a car, because if the money's not here, the money's not, I mean, if it ain't coming in, it ain't going out to pay for bills.
And that's a powerful why. I mean, it
It,
really is.
it was like 4 years ago, everything, but people were buying, and
Mhm.
it was easier for me then to hit huge sales. But I also didn't stop. I didn't just get that one order that day. I was like, if I got one, I can get two today. I got this two, I can get three today. Like, it was like, you know what? I'm not going to bed until I get one more sale. I don't even care if it was for a scent circle. I didn't care. I was going to get one more sale of something. And I've lost a little bit of that drive because I don't
Mhm.
have that. I'm not scared. I have a team. There's partial. And when I say this on my team, my amount that I get from my teamies, and I show them my paycheck a lot.
Mhm.
I haven't done it in the last 2 months, but I show them my paycheck of what I get off of them. Like, I don't get a lot off of them. I don't get a
Mhm.
huge commission, but I show them what I get paid on is what I do. And
Yeah.
so if you want a bigger paycheck, you need to do more, or you've got to find enough people on a team that are just doing some to build up your paycheck. Like,
Well, I think that that speaks a lot because at the end of the day, it all comes down to what you can control, right? Like I can't control other people to have the dedication and the consistency to want this business like I want this business, right? But I can control me and how I approach this business.
right.
And so really leaning into that versus relying on others, I really do think that that helps you and you're setting that good example. And Just for those of you who might be curious about the Go for No book, I did look it up. It is by Richard Fenton. Go for No. Yes is a destination. No is how you get there. So it's on Amazon. So if y'all want to go check that out.
And I think back in the day, I listened to it on Audible, like Audible,
There you go.
because I'm a huge, uh, I'm a huge supporter of when you are driving and you are going to the store, you are, running errands, going to work, coming home. If you commute further than 10 minutes, you can find a YouTube video, you can find a audiobook. I've been on this self-help journey right now. Like I've been figuring out like some of my mental baggage of stuff that I have of, I'm not I don't deserve the success I have. I don't know how I got it before and I don't deserve it again. And I've really been breaking that down. And a lot of that comes from I listen to these books as I go along. Like
Yeah.
every time I leave my house, I'm only 10 minutes away from school. So I get in my car, I turn the audiobook on and I listen to it. If it's one chapter, if it's one, um, maybe a segment, I'll even sit in my car and finish to that little segment
Yeah.
and be like, okay, how can I apply this today? Because when people tell me that they don't have time to work their Scentsy business, I work it while I'm driving because I'm teaching myself. I'm learning something myself because I can't teach my team. I can't do trainings. I can't do this if I'm not keeping up with what's going on or, finding something new. You kind of said earlier, it's like a buffet. Cincy has a buffet of tips and tricks of stuff to do, and you don't have to get it all. You can
Yeah.
start with one or two things and be like, okay, I'm going to see how good this is and finish it. And then like, okay, now this time I'm going to get three things. I mean, it's never like you have to get everything, all of it, all the time, or you're going to, suck as a consultant.
Yeah.
And you find time for all the things that you want to do. You
Yes.
find the time.
So if you just had a heard and you're not watching, Lisa WaxyCat Sanderson had just popped on. And we are just talking about the different challenges that we come across, especially the no's, the rejections, the different things that we deal with as a consultant, along with balancing our work and family life, and then overcoming self-doubt. So we're just talking about when I had started, I had this necessity, this drive that I had to make money. And the Go for No's was something that I kind of fell back on. It was a book, but that's kind of led us into the Audible. I do listen to a lot of audiobooks and I have a lot of motivational stuff. And then I also have my fun books that I'm like, okay, I'm done with learning. Like my brain is mush. I just want to listen to something fun. Give me some Jack Reacher, give me some Nora Roberts. I don't know. I'm either in romance or I'm in blow things up. So, it's just kind of, I like the extremes. I just want to be entertained one way or the other. So, Lisa, from your experience, how do you deal with people telling you no?
I just move on. I mean, like you said, you go for the no. I mean, it's just a choice. Like people have a choice. It's just a word. Either they say yes or they say no. Like that's it. Like it doesn't really have that much weight either way. Like it shouldn't stop you from doing something. It's a word. That's it. They just say no, they're not interested. And I wasn't interested either for a long time. So, and you don't ever know, just by asking, they might start thinking about something that they never would have thought of before. They never would have thought that, oh, maybe I could be a consultant. It never, ever would have registered in their head if you hadn't at least mentioned it. So no's are fine because this isn't for everybody. Not everybody wants to do this, and that's totally okay. Like I hate to use the thing like that. I hear it so often, but it's so true. Like when the waitress asks you if you want dessert, you just say no. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
we talked about that. Yep.
yeah, like
Yep.
it's such
and
a
no one gets
common thing.
upset. Like the waitress doesn't throw herself down. The manager doesn't fire everybody because they didn't get dessert. It's like today I don't want dessert, but you know what? Catch me tomorrow. I promise you, I want some dessert, and I probably want two. you
Yeah,
know?
it's just an option. You're just giving them an option. I mean, if they don't want it, they don't want it. Like, that's totally fine. You don't have to.
Well, and even on the
So
flip side is that if you don't ever ask because you're afraid of the no's,
it's
kind of
always
like
no.
Lisa
Yep.
had said that, they start to think about what's the possibility. If
Hmm.
you don't ever ask someone to join your team, you're never going to get someone to join your team
No.
because you have to start having those conversations to get better. Like we've been doing this podcast now for a couple of weeks, and every time that we get on, we get a little bit better with the transitions and that's just like a conversation. When you have
Mhm.
them or texting, email, your conversations with your customers are going to get better the more you do them. It's practice. You're never going
Yes.
to be perfect the first time. And if you are,
Nope.
like, hallelujah. Like I'm very proud of you for going. But it's for the rest of us, it is not an easy thing. It's something to learn, to
And it's
get
just
better at.
like digging for the gold. Like you have to get some of the other stuff out of the way. You're going to get some people who say no, and then you're going to get some people who say yes. Or maybe they're going to say not right now. But that's fine. Maybe for those people, at least in our business, open them a personal shopping link then. Say, okay, fine,
Mhm.
you don't want to join, but I do want to share some of the rewards that we are given as consultants with you. And I'll make you a link. You make purchases under it. If you want to share it with your friends and family, you can. If not, no big deal. Doesn't matter. When you hit rewards, we'll cash it out. And then when you go and cash that party out for them later on, they're going to get their free and half off stuff, but also tell them how much they would have made back on what that
Mhm.
party amount was. So you
Yeah.
would have, you would have made $150 and your free and half off items if you would have signed up when I asked you the first time.
Right.
Right.
That's, I
Yeah.
mean,
Well, and it's kind of like when you get that negative no, it's not like you drop the phone and run away. It is
no.
you need your customers should be allowed to be able to tell you no. And at
Mm-hmm.
the same time is that you turn it into something else positive of like asking for, do you just want to get a shopping link? You don't have to join the team, but let's at least when you're ordering, get yourself some rewards. Let's put you on a party link, let you accumulate the rewards, you share it or you don't. That's whatever you want to do, and then we do cash it out. And we were talking about that because I do that with some customers and it lasts for about 6 months. They cash out when the new catalog hits. So that way they're not
Mm-hmm.
paying full price. And I know there's at least two of us in here that do that too, because Lisa loves to share all the goodies that she gets for free when we
Yeah,
move
I
over to
love
new catalog.
rewards.
Yep.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I hate paying full price for products. I mean, I have like 9 links open right now.
That was the main reason I joined, to be my own consultant, just to get some money back on what I bought already and
Yeah.
to be able to have rewards and stuff like that. So I think people don't always understand that while you can work this as a business, you don't have to. Like, I'm not saying, will you join my team and do it all the time like I do? I do that because I want to. Like, that's what's fun to me. I enjoy doing it. But you can join and do nothing. You can join and do a little bit. You can join and personal shop. You can join and do a business. Like, there's no, I think sometimes people think that, oh, I'm going to have to do this or I'm going to get pushed or I'm going to get, and
Right.
maybe there are some teams out there that do, but I know that ours, the ones in here, all of us and Robin, that's not how it is. Jacqui has never reached out to him and like, hey girl, you going to sell something? Never,
Yeah.
never. I
Well,
mean,
and that's what we were kind of touched on at the beginning because that was the thing with my sponsor. She
mm-hmm,
was on top of, and I will be the first to say I am never the top salesperson, right? I'm not. I lean more towards coaching and training and helping, and then
that's
I
what you
work on my
like. Yeah.
personal sales, and that's me. That's my business. But my sponsor was very much, how come you're not active yet? It's the third. Why are you not active? What have you done today? It's the 15th of the month. Why have you only gotten this? How many phone calls have you made? How many of this? And I was like, okay, whoa. And I
I am glad
completely,
she blocked me because it would not have
yeah,
blocked.
Well, and I think that's hard.
I
Like,
just don't work that well.
is that when people become like they get a team. And I think that's also the scary part is again, I kind of said in the beginning, is like you don't know what you don't know. And you're like,
Mhm.
oh, I'm gonna motivate my entire team because they're all gonna work every day, all the time. And I can
Mhm.
like shout them out every day. And when you start growing a team, you don't I always tell everybody it's a rule of 3. if you have 3 consultants, you're going to have one that exceeds your expectation, one that is there, and one that will never do anything. And it's not really with just 3. It's normally like a team of 10 or 15. You can start seeing out of 15, you're going to have 5 that are always going to hit active or 500 and above. You're going to have 5 that they may get some orders. They're doing something. And you have others that are like, I haven't even opened my box. Like, I haven't even gotten my kit out. Like, I don't even know who are you? I mean, it's just kind of, they're definitely gone. They ghost you. They're gone away. And I think we try to be for our team what we didn't get for ourselves. And it's something that I started doing because I had a upline that couldn't keep up like with the information. She never wanted to get more than for $500-600 a month. She just wanted to be able to get
it wasn't her goal to do all that.
And she was like, you know, I asked her, I was like, well, what do you get if you get like 1,000? And she's like, well, it's your commission's this. And I said, what about like 2 or 5? I was like, she's like, I don't know, I've never done it. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, I never really had a reason to. And I'm like, well, let's do it. And we were very competitive that way. But I couldn't get enough information from her. So that's when I found Jacqui and all the others on YouTube. I mean, it was Chloe Cox and it was Ray Anderson and it was a whole group that South Carolina, North Carolina, the Carolinas group was kicking butt on putting out videos because there was a whole bunch of them there. Katie Lassiter. I was watching them nonstop, going back to the beginning of when they started doing them. I was watching all their playlists because I didn't know what to do. And I had an upline that was like, I don't know what to tell you because I've never done what you're doing and I don't know how to feed you. And so I had to basically go stuff myself. I had to just find something. And in the beginning, I tried to do everything. I tried to eat the whole buffet line. Like,
well, that's
on a
also what's
day-to-day
so
basis.
good. Like, what's so amazing about this is so many of us share things that we do that when you don't get something from, like if your immediate upline doesn't connect with you the way that you wish they would, or doesn't give you the info like you needed, there's still places to find it here too. Like, it doesn't have to be your immediate upline. Like, I tell people that all the time. Like, they're like, I'm going to quit and come back under you. And I'm like, no, you need to do what you're doing and not worry about what's up above you, because you're going to lose everything for 6 months just to get out of somebody, get away from somebody that isn't really doing anything anyway for you. Just go and watch videos, go and connect with other people. Like, that's what's so neat about here is there's just so many you can connect to if your sponsor isn't doing it.
Well, and I think because that's part of the reason why I started my YouTube journey, because I like Texas had kind of touched on, right? Like, I wanted to do what I didn't have. I didn't want to be that leader that I had. And so I'm the same way as Lisa, right? Like, I could care less if you're on my team, you're on my group, whatever. I'm still going to give all the information just the same. And I think that is what is special about the things that we do. And a lot of others do. Not everybody does it, but a lot of those leaders do.
And I mean, there's going to be bad seeds everywhere. Yeah, I think it does, because there's more good seeds than bad seeds here.
Yeah.
Well,
like, and I don't do what you guys, I don't try to do what my upline didn't do. I try to do what my upline does do, because Jacqui's my sponsor, you know, so that just shows.
Make sure you say good things about her.
If you just, right, I have to be with you guys for a week. But no, that shows, like, if you, instead of leaving, Jacqui could have left too. She could have left. She could have went back under a different team, whatever. She could have just been somewhere else. But instead, she stayed where she was and changed it for everyone below her. So that's another reason why don't just up and leave. Like, stay where you're at and make a difference from here down, because you can't change up no matter what. I can't make Jacqui do something that, I mean, I can ask her and she probably would because she's great, but most people, you can't make somebody do something different than they already do. You know, if they're not in it, they're not in it. But
well, and if you have an upline, that doesn't do anything, and like half time you can't find them, honestly, sooner or later they're going to fall off their business.
Yep. So, and you're just going to roll up anyway.
And you're going to roll up, and you might roll up underneath someone amazing, and you might roll up under someone else who's worse. You never know. But you know, you're right with all you can do is train your team in the way that you wanted to be trained. And the person underneath of you may be like, gosh, why does she do so many trainings? Just leave me alone. Like, and they may do something totally different with their team. But I thought in the beginning, I was like, everybody's like, gatekeeping, all this stuff. Like, why won't you tell me what to do? And they're like, well, have you done this? And I'm like, yes, I've done it all. Like, I can't figure it out. But I've noticed here in the last 2 months, I've been like listening to these books and trying to fix myself, is that I've stopped myself from doing the things that, like, the self-doubt. That was it is so hard to get through, because when you get into a point, I had hit director in 4 months. Like, it was like Lisa and I, when we like started hanging out, we realized that we were very much on the same journey. Like, we both started in the same year. We both hit director really fast. She kept climbing. And then I kind of plateaued, and then I fell off. But I also was very upset with my upline. And it was like, and I took it out on myself and was like, I'm just helping her.
Just let go.
Yeah, I'm like helping her. Why am I trying so hard for someone who can't show up? And I wanted someone who would show up. And I luckily, when I got to meet Jacqui and her team, is that they kind of adopted me, and I became the hidden stepchild.
I thought you were ours. Remember, I thought you were. I was like, oh,
look, I was one of those, whenever they say, like, you have, I don't even know a good example, but I snuck in to the movie theater, and I was in the back eating my popcorn every single day that they had trainings live. I snuck in everywhere I could fit in, and I kept coming back. And at some point, I think I wore down y'all's SSD, and was basically, she was like, look, you're a part of it. And I'm like, thank you, because I'm going to be here if you invited me or not. I'm going to show up if I'm invited or not, because I needed some kind of structure. Now, I can't do everything, and I realize that, but it's also what started my self-doubt, is because I wasn't able to do all the things I was doing before on the level I was doing it before.
Well, but there's a difference though, because you also shared what you were doing. You were giving.
Yeah.
It wasn't just you were taking all of the things and never giving back to the group or the community as a whole, right? You were very much, here's what I did today. Look, I learned how to do this. Here, I'm going to share with you guys how I did it. And I think that sets you apart from others who may just be sitting there going, oh, I want more, I want more, I want more. And they're just taking. And I think a big part of why we have this successful community is the people who are giving back. And so you do give back.
Well, and that's why at SFR, I will say this until I'm blue in the face, is that the people who show up will go up. And it's because we not only, we've had our little collab group, and we talk on a daily basis. But when we get to something as SFR, and if we were close enough, we would be going to other trainings together. But at SFR, if we're all together, we're good. And if we're all separate, we're good, because we do talk to other people, and we do like, hey, I talked to so-and-so, and she was talking about this kind of system and doing this. And we're like, ooh, that sounds really cool. I could probably utilize some of that. And we share the ideas back from what we learn from other people. And going to events, this is a big deal. My business has survived with not having a connection to my upline at all, because I go to these events so much. Like, I do everything I can to go to them, and it fills up my cup. And even if I don't take away anything new, I've met new people. I've met new, because sometimes the recruiting ones are always, I hate to say, it's not like always the same, but it's the same story. You talk to people, you get them to recruit. There's different ways to do it. And sometimes I just feel like it's kind of regurgitated over and over, and I get bored. So I'm like, I had to figure out from mine, losing that director title and telling myself I didn't deserve it, and telling myself that it's not for me. And that's what I've been unpacking in the last couple of months, is that I do deserve the success that I will get. I do deserve it, because I've done the work.
You did all the work. Yep.
I've done,
Yes.
you know, I started doing trainings. My team knows that my YouTube is there. I do trainings, you know, I'm actually talking about my journey right now on a whole list. And I'm doing it every 2 days. No matter good or bad, like, you know, I didn't get any responses for this and I'm doing it this way, but it didn't quite work out because I want other people to know that this journey is not all flowers and butterflies. Sometimes it's getting down
It's
in the
work.
mud and digging yourself out and figuring out what path to take.
And that's part of the whole growing aspect of it. Like sometimes those hard things that you make it through were really the things that you needed the most. It doesn't ever feel like it in the moment,
No.
but sometimes those are the things that you needed to go through to get. And I never understood that before, but like sometimes those are the things that you need to feel and you need to work through and see how you deal with handling it just to go forward.
Well,
So
if you never fail, you'll never learn. And
yeah,
I fail, you know, I look at it as I failed as a director and I didn't. What I failed to do was to keep going and keep growing. And I kind of fell off because I then was no longer getting, I was getting recruits. I looked back and I was getting recruits 2 to 3 a month. Now they, like I said, 1 out of 3 was doing something and some, you know, was going above what I was expecting. Others were doing nothing. And it would always vary. There was 1 month that it was in May that we did, it was another $20 join or 25, and I had 6 people join.
Wow.
And I have 1 person still on the team from that month. But I never continued. I started falling off and doubting myself, so I quit asking those questions. And um I quit getting rejections because I wasn't asking anybody. You know, I was just posting and praying and hoping, you know, like, here it is, here's a link, order. And then Facebook decided to take the links off. And I was like, you know what? I really got to get back to the basics. And I
What made
did. I mean,
what made you kind of get out of that and really stop doubting yourself?
I will have to say y'all. I mean, if it wasn't for our friendship, it wasn't because how many times did I tell you guys I'm just done. I'm done with all this. Like, I just can't do it. And it's like, it just
Yeah.
takes one other person and you have to open up. Like, if you can't say the truth of what's going on in your life and you can't accept the questions or the other stuff that comes back from your close knit group, then
you
you
can't
really need to
change it.
reevaluate
Yeah.
that group. But it really was that, how much did I want this? Is this something I really want? I mean, in anything in life, if you're struggling through something, is this worth it? Is this something you want to be in or stay in? Do you want to be here? And for me, it's always from the get go. I want to be here. I'm a lifer. Like, I will
Yeah.
outwork, I will outgrow everybody because I'm not going to give up. And I had to remind myself that I'm not one to give up. I don't ever give up.
Oh.
I will
Especially
be,
when you love it. Like just
yes.
because
And
it's a bad season or a bad time, you still are doing the same thing that you did when
Yes.
everything was going good. So
yes.
if you loved it then, you can love it even in the bad season too. You
And
just
it takes
have to get through
one
it.
person. It takes one person either in your group or in your team that changes your entire mentality for your Scentsy career. Because it can take
Yeah.
one order, you get that surprise order that's $200-300 out from nowhere. And I can't, how many months that I sit there like on the 15th and I'm like, guys, I'm not even at 500 yet. And then the next day I'm like, hey, FYI, I just had a 300 and some odd dollar order go through and I'm back on track. And it's like,
That's what is so neat about this. It's like
Yes.
day by day. Like you can be like
Yes.
crap month, crap month, crap month. All of a sudden, boom, tons of orders come in and somebody wants to join. Like it can change so quick. And if you just think, if I would have given up yesterday, then today would not have happened. Like, I don't think people think of that. Like it's literally just one order away from changing everything. One person that you meet away
Yeah.
from changing everything.
well, and I
So
saw something and I posted is like, every time you quit, someone else gets your prize.
because someone's
Oh.
gonna still
It's,
work for it. Yep.
yeah. And it's like,
Yeah.
so if you want that prize, you've got to just keep going. And it's going to get hard. Like, it's going to be like, there's days that we used to get on Zooms all the time. And it's like, I don't even know what to work on today. And it's like, what are you working on? And what are you working on? And like, I don't have anything to work on because it's like, I'm just at a standstill. And sometimes that's when you need to take a break and like, go take a walk, or you need to read another book. Like, that's when I start going into my Jack Reachers and my Nora Roberts, because it's like I'm too much into Scentsy that I've now gotten myself pushed
Like
into a
walled
corner.
in.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
now I'm like, I can't do this because I'm waiting on this. So it's like I'm 4 steps in, but I still have 9 other things that has to come together, because, you know, my mind, I have this whole maze of like, once I get here, then I do these. And then once, you know, and I get, I
Well,
over
and one of
analyze
the
everything.
things one of the things that I have a lot of conversations with, especially when I'm doing like coaching calls with my team, is reminding them that this is not overnight success, right? Just because you're posting today doesn't mean tomorrow you're going to wake up and you're going to have 16 orders awaiting for you, right? Everything that you're doing now, and if you stay consistent, if you continue to push yourself, continue to grow, continue to do all the things, then in 90 days you're going to see the fruits of that, right? It's not going to happen overnight. It may happen next month, it may have to happen the month after that, but normally that cycle is about 90 days. So I will challenge them in like 90-day cycles. Okay, this is what I want you to focus on for the next 3 months. And I want you to just go all in for 3 months. You can do anything for 3 months, right? And let's see where you're at. And if nothing has changed, well, then you know what? Maybe this isn't for you. Maybe it's just not working. You've given everything that you can. Okay, great. But every single person who truly has put in the work, they see some type of
Something. Yeah.
forward
They see
motion.
some
Yeah,
type of return.
it's
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Well, and we're all like, you know, when you start with your business, it is, you know, we talk about planting seeds, and, you know, like you talk to a customer and they say no, but it's not no right now, or it's no right now, but not no
But
forever.
not know forever.
And
Yep.
you plant those seeds. And if you drop seeds out in your yard and you planted, they're not going to grow the next day. And
Yeah. You're not going to see a
and
plant tomorrow. It's
we
not.
teach it all the time, but it is hard when we have to look back on ourselves and be like, why isn't this working? Why isn't this working? And we have to stop and be like, this is what we
Yeah.
talk about this, is that
Especially in this now generation.
Yeah.
That's
yes.
the problem, is
And
everybody is like now. And it's like you want to shake them and be like, no, just listen. Like just do this.
Yeah, breathe for a minute and realize
Yes.
that what you're doing today in 3 months or even in 6 months, that
Just
if
keep it up.
if you work during the
Yeah.
slow times, if you're slow, that means you have time to do stuff. You have time to train yourself. You have time to set up systems and put them into place for whenever it's fall and we're like, there's 4 or 5 things being released every week or every month. We have whole new collections coming out and you're losing your head because you can't keep up. And then it slows
Right.
down and we're like, oh, well, it's slow now. I don't have, you know, my business sucks. It's like, well, what are you doing to get ready? What are you doing to
Yeah.
prepare for tomorrow or for next month? I mean,
Mhm.
like right now, I'm building up my bring back my bar. I'm sending, you know, I have samples out and I'm talking to the customers who purchased them, also talking Cincy Club, because like you love these, keep these. But I'm also preparing them for next month
Yeah.
because
See, and yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm really trying to prepare my business for fall because
yes,
that is, we know that that's our biggest season. But if I focus the next 3 months ahead, so the things that I'm working on today, the things I'm working on this week, yeah, they're going to help my business in the now. But at the same time, I'm
It's
also pushing
preparing
that focus
you.
out. Yeah. For, you know, we're going to have an incentive period starting next month, right? We're
yeah.
going to have a transition month. We're going to have a new catalog. Like all of the things are going to happen. So if we're not doing that work now, then what's going to happen when that new catalog drops? People are going to be like, well, where do I start? Now, what do I do? Well,
Well,
And
and
if
then
you
you're gonna
just
get
in the
you're gonna get the
habit,
other ones that like a catalog drop. When did that start? And it's like,
yeah.
oh my god, like we've been preparing for this for 6 months. Like we're ready to go.
But if
yeah,
you just get in that habit now, and you just, once you can make anything a habit, it's so much easier to do. So
yeah,
like if you can just get it through people's heads to do this for this amount of time, well, by the
yeah.
time that amount of time is up, it's a habit. So
Mhm.
they're going to continue forward with it. Like it's just
Yeah.
getting them to stick to it now
It's just like
so
going to
that
the gym,
later
right? I
it
can't go to
works.
the gym today and be like, oh, well, I'm going to have a 6-pack tomorrow when I wake up in the morning. That's not going to happen, right?
No.
But if I continue go to the gym and go to the gym and go to the gym and go to the gym over time, yes, I'm going to see results. Will I see the 6-pack? Probably not, in all honesty, but I'm going to be
You're
farther
gonna see
along then than
something.
I am
Yeah.
now, right?
Well, and
So,
talking about habits, it's like those small habits. It's when you start repeating things over and over and over in our business, it becomes a system. And you may
yes.
not realize that you've created the system of like, well, every month I start doing this and I start reaching out to my customers from last month, or I send out my happy mail, or I send out emails, and I'm prepping for this next month. And that's what, if you notice that you've been doing that for 2, 3, 4 months in a row, you create a system that you might want to share with somebody,
Yeah.
that you realize that, wow, this is what I've been doing and I've stayed consistent with it and I do it every month. Well, hate to tell you, I hate using the word system sometimes, because when someone says I have a new
I
system, they're
know.
like, I don't want
I
to learn
know.
something
It's
new.
a
But
trigger.
People
It's kind
ask
of
me if
like
I have
party.
systems, and I'm like, no, I do not. I don't even know what
Yeah.
that is.
you do, but
But
there's
you
a lot of
do.
things.
You have
You
habits. Yeah.
do, yeah. It's just
But
not planned.
your
It's just
habits,
what I do.
yes, your
Yeah.
habits
Yeah,
are your system. And
yeah.
if we get off the whole thing is that a system is not, it's just not scary. It is the small steps. It is doing step 1 and
Mhm,
repeating it, and then going to 2 and then repeating 1 and 2, 1 and
Mhm.
2. And then you're repeating 3 now. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And that is actually your system building up in your business. If it's always just saying thank you to your customers when they purchase, it's always, reaching out and checking with it after the package got delivered. That, I mean, if you're doing that
there's your
consistent,
follow-up
that's
system.
your
Yeah.
follow-up
That's
system. That's
right.
a system. You followed up with that
Mhm,
customer. You're checking on them. They're asking questions, or you're asking questions like, is that the warmer that you loved? Does it look great in that
mhm.
room? Is that scent what you were expecting? And that's your follow-up. And I didn't realize how many systems I had. Like, I was just
And
new.
spoiler alert, we just got a whole new follow-up system today.
Yes, we
Mhm.
did. And I haven't
It's
even
so
fully
neat.
looked into it. So, but I'm very excited. So we are getting to the end of the hour. So we are going to wrap up the podcast. I mean, we are going to do our little after hours. So this was navigating our challenges. It is basically diving into the world of how we overcome our personal challenges, our business, our home life, the negatives, the no's, and realizing that it's okay. It's working through it. So this is Who Knows Best, and I am Cassie Bollinger,
I'm Jacqui Duran.
WaxyCats.
and we will see you guys next time. Next week, we will be at SF.
Yes.
We may have some extra episodes coming out next week, since we will be together in a room and we'll be face to face after, we
We won't
all
be
have
in little
our,
boxes. We'll be in one box.
we'll be in one
Yeah,
box,
one big box.
one big box. So stay tuned. Follow us on wherever you found us. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. And wherever you have found us, if you have questions or if you have thoughts about what you've heard today, or maybe what you're going through,
We'd
we would
love to do a
love to hear
Q&A.
about it so we could talk about it on a future episode.
Or things that you want to hear about
Yes.
in general.
Any topics that you want to hear about, we
Mhm.
are definitely open. Since this is so new, we don't even have, well, I have the next 10 ones done, but we can change them up anytime. I'm the
She's got it
organizer.
planned, but yes.
Yes. Yes.
So in case you haven't heard it today, I love you. We all love you. You are worthy. You can do this business. You can do life. Find your joy, find your love, and, just whatever I want to say, just push off all the negativity and just keep going. You got
Yes.
this.
Yes.